everybody, and welcome to another edition of Browns Latest. I'm Dave Grendzynski, and this is where you can get a 10-minute take on the Cleveland Browns. And let's face it, folks, sometimes 10 minutes is all you can take when you're talking about the Browns. No, I'm kidding. We love our Brownies. I was born and raised here in Cleveland, and I love nothing more than to talk about the Browns. Hey, if you can, do me a favor, like and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss an episode. Future episodes, or go back and watch the past ones, and please throw your comments in the comments section down below. On today's show, we'll talk about what I think the Browns should do with those first few picks in the draft, why Will Howard is a great pick for the Browns plan at quarterback, and then also AI picks the next 50 Super Bowl winners. We'll let you know if our Cleveland Browns are in there, but let's start with the draft. And folks, the Browns have picks number 2, 33, 67, 94, 104, 179, 192, 200, 216, and 255. We haven't had as many draft picks in a while, folks, so we've got some plenty of work to do this year as it pertains to the draft. We've already talked about it on past episodes, what I think they should do with their first pick at number 2. I think they should go Travis Hunter from Colorado, most value. And also, I mean, he's a wide receiver. He'll be a weapon on offense, and then they will use him as a part-time cornerback. And I just think that having Deion Sanders around him will provide him some NFL maturity. I think it's the safest route to go, and it gives you a weapon for your quarterback. And that is where we start the conversation at pick 33 in round 2. Now, what I would do, honestly, with these next 2 picks, 33 and 67, I would take 2 quarterbacks. We haven't gotten this right in over 30 years, folks. We haven't had a quarterback since Bernie, although Flacco gave us a glimpse of what could be if we had a real quarterback in this offense. You need a quarterback, folks. If you don't have a quarterback, you have nothing, and we have proven that ever since we've come back in 1999. So I would take 2 quarterbacks. Here's the reason. One, Flacco's 40. I mean, he's not going to last. It's just, he's a guy. He's on a 1-year deal. He's a stopgap. But his main role will be to teach the younger guys, whoever they draft, and possibly Kenny Pickett, this offense and how to get it done. Kenny Pickett, yes, he's younger. He's only going to be 26. Younger guy, and honestly, he's got a winning record in the league, 15-10. The problem with Pickett too is, he hasn't been that great, but he's also injury prone. Listen to this: he's already had 2 concussions, 2 rib injuries, an ankle injury, and a shin bruise. So the guy is injury prone, and so even if he does get a shot this year, you can almost, I looked at DraftSharks has him as a more than 40% chance of getting injured this year. So there's a really good chance Pickett could end up getting hurt as well. So you got 2 guys who are very questionable there at the top. So I would take 2 quarterbacks. I'd look at if Dart falls down there. I know Quinn Ewers is projected like 4th round. I love Quinn. You know how I love Quinn. I love Will Howard, and that's where we will begin the discussion on Will Howard. I think this is a guy who the Cleveland Browns should really consider with one of those 2 picks at either 33 or 67. They're talking Howard could end up falling all the way to day 3, which I think is a little crazy. These projections are sometimes off the wall, but Will Howard threw for over 4,000 yards last year, 35 touchdowns, led the Buckeyes to the national championship. I love his size. I mean, he's a big guy. He's 6'5", great arm. I thought he made a lot of really good decisions as the season went along for the Buckeyes, but my eyes really opened up on him that first Oregon game when they went in there and he played lights out. And I know everybody wants to go back to the last play of the game and the decision he made. And here's the deal. I feel, these are kids. I feel the coaches should have coached him up and had him ready for that situation. Let him know, talk him through it. Let him know how much time is on the clock and make sure they get that shot at that last second field goal. So to me, the onus is on the coaches in that situation. But Will Howard really opened my eyes that game, and he just took over from there and went along. The other thing about Will Howard that Ohio State really didn't use last year, a facet of his game that they kind of left on the shelf, his running ability. So if you got him, I mean, he can run. If you need him to run, he ran a lot at Kansas State. But the Buckeyes just didn't need him to, because when you have NFL wide receivers running around all over the field, they usually get open, and you find them, and you just throw them the ball, and you don't put your quarterback at risk. And the way he bounced back after the Michigan game, when that game plan was horrible and they played not to lose, and then of course when you play not to lose, you end up losing, and that's what they did against Michigan. And the way he bounced back and took them through the playoffs, I think he's got the tenacity and everything. Here's the other thing, folks: he's a Buckeye. Browns fans will lean into that, because we love our Buckeyes. I don't understand why every year we pass on so many Buckeyes. I mean, and this year, I would take as many as you can get, because that team was so good, and these guys are so good, and they're huge. I mean, most of them are already NFL ready. So this is somebody you can root for. Will Howard, big guy, sits behind Flacco, learns from him, and then could potentially take over next year. But like I said, I would get two. If you can get a Dart, a Ewers, somebody like that, Shuck, if you can get him. Even if you have to start him on the practice squad, you got him sitting there, and then you can go on from there. And so with the rest of those picks, you got to look for running backs, offensive linemen. I mean, there's so many other things. We'll get into it in later episodes, more details about some of those later round picks. But that's where they should go, I think, with those first couple of picks, which brings us to the third topic of today's show, and it's the Browns quarterback plan. And what's making me nuts is everybody keeps saying, oh, they signed Flacco, so that changes the whole quarterback plan. No, this has been the plan all along, folks. It started with Kirk Cousins. That, to me, I mean, Kirk Cousins knows this offense inside now. And that's who I wanted to see them bring in to mentor the young guys who they will be drafting. But Flacco was the next best option. We mentioned this before, and so for all of these national pundits, these guys who don't really pay attention to the team every day like we do, like for them to say, oh, now that they have Flacco, they're going to change it. Now they don't have to draft a quarterback at 2. Yeah, no kidding. But this has been the plan all along. I mean, there's not a surefire guy to draft at quarterback at the top of the draft. So why would you do that anyway when you've got better value in a guy like Hunter, and Abdul Carter, and we'll talk about this more in depth, but if you're hurt in college, you're going to be hurt in the pros. My brother taught me that years ago, and he was so right. We talk about this draft, these guys, and this guy couldn't even show up to his own pro day because he was hurt. So I'm off Abdul Carter, but give me Travis Hunter, give me a couple quarterbacks, and the Browns quarterback plan has never changed. They have not veered off of that plan. And so all these national pundits who think they know what they're talking about, they don't. This has been the plan all along. Get a veteran in there. And then the Pickett thing kind of came out of nowhere. But he's young, and he can mentor him too. He kind of falls into the same category. And then draft some even younger guys to mentor even more. And we're going to end today with this. Did you see AI pick the next 50 Super Bowl winners? And guess how many times the Browns are in there? Guess how many times we're going to win the Super Bowl, according to AI, over the next 50 years? 0. That's how many. They're making up teams that are in Europe, like the Monarchs and teams like that. They have teams like that winning the Super Bowl before us. We're not on the list. I don't get it. If you're a betting person, they say San Francisco wins it this year. So even AI hating on the Browns, I don't get it. So we got a long road to hoe, folks. We even have to win over AI. That's the kind of work we have to do. If you're a Cleveland Brown, if you're in the organization, if you're a fan like me. So that'll do it for today's show. Remember, please, if you can, like and subscribe. And then get your comments down there in the comment section. And I'd love to start using this last section of the show to read some of your comments and respond. But we'll see. We'll talk more about the draft as we get closer. But that'll do it for today's episode. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.